So we talked about two different forms of propulsion, which are super exciting. So the chemical based, that's doing pretty well, and then the electric based is. Are there types of propulsion that might sound like science fiction right now, but are actually within the reach of science in the next 10, 20, 30, 50 years that you kind of think about, or maybe even within the space of even just like even ion engines? Is there like breakthroughs that might 10x the thing, like really improve it?
So, the real game changer would be propellantless propulsion. And so every couple years you see a startup or a researcher comes up with some contraption for producing thrust that didn't require, we've been talking about conservation of momentum, mass times velocity out the back,
So
mass
there's
times
usually a
velocity
mass.
forward. Yes,
That's what.
exactly. And you have to carry that up with you or find it on an asteroid or harvest it from somewhere if you didn't bring it with you. So not having to do that would be, one of the ultimate game changers. And I, unless there are new types of physics, I don't know how we do it, but it comes up often. So it's something I do think about. And, the one, I think it's called the Casimir effect. If you have two plates and the space between them is on the order of these, like the wavelength of these ephemeral vacuum particles that pop into and out of existence or something. I may be confusing multiple types of propellantless forces, but that could be real and could be something that we use eventually.
What would be the power source?
Yeah, the most recent engine like this that was just debunked this year, I think in March or something, was called the M drive, and supposedly you used a power source, so batteries or solar panels, to generate microwaves into this resonant cavity, and people claimed it produced thrust. So they went straight from this really loose concept to building a device and testing it, and they said, we've measured thrust, and sure, on their thrust balance they saw thrust, and different researchers built it and tested it and got the same measurements, and so it was looking actually pretty good. No one could explain how it worked, but what they said was that this inside the cavity, the microwaves themselves didn't change, but the speed of light changed inside the cavity. So relative to that, their momentum was conserved. And I don't, whatever. But finally, someone, I think at NASA, built the device, tested it, got the same thrust, then unhooked it, flipped it backwards and turned it on, but got the same thrust in the same direction again. And so they're like, this is just an interaction with the test setup or, the chamber or something like that.
That's sad.
So thwarted again. But, it would be so wonderful for everybody if we could figure out how to do it. But I don't know.
That's an interesting twist on it, because that's more about efficient travel, long distance travel, right? That's not necessarily about speed. That's more about enabling less.
So hook that up to the nuclear power supply.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
But still, in terms of speed, in terms of trying to, so there's recently already, I think, been debunked or close to being debunked, but the signal, a weird signal from our nearby friends, nearby exoplanets from Proxima Centauri, a signal that's 4.2 light years away. So, the thought is it'd be kind of cool if there's life out there, alien life, but it'd be really cool if we could fly out there and check. And so what kind of propulsion, and do you think about what kind of propulsion will allow us to travel close to the speed of light, or half the speed of light, all those kinds of things that would allow us to get to Proxima Centauri in a lifetime?
There's the Project Breakthrough Starshot.
Yeah.
That's looking at sending those tiny little chipsats
and accelerating really fast.
Yeah, using a laser. So launching them, and then while they're still relatively close to the Earth, blasting them with some, I forget what power level you needed to accelerate them fast enough to get there in 20
Super
years.
crazy sounding, but a lot of people say that's a legitimate, like, it's crazy sounding, but you can actually pull it off.
Yeah, I love that project because there are a lot of different aspects. There's the laser, there's how do you then get enough power when you're there to send a signal back. No part of that project is possible right now, but I think it's really exciting.
Yeah. But do you see like
Yeah.
human, like a spacecraft with a human on it? So it's like a heavy one, being like us inventing new propulsion systems entirely. Like, do you ever see
Yeah.
that on the radar of propulsion systems like that, or are they completely out there in the impossible?
Well, we're going to quickly leave the realm of what I can describe with any credibility, but
Yes.
I think because of special relativity, if we try to accelerate some mass so close to the speed of light, it becomes infinitely heavy, and then we just don't. We'd have to like harness a lot of suns to do that, or it's just that math doesn't quite work out. But in my childlike heart, I believe that, we're missing something, whether it's, dark matter or other dimensions. And if you can just have some antimatter and a black hole and then ride that around and somehow,
Right.
turn that into
like
some.
mess with gravity somehow.
Yeah, I feel like we're missing lots of things in this puzzle, and that,
I wonder how hard
there's
that
something.
puzzle. Yeah, right. Well, I can speak with confidence as a descendant of apes that we don't know what the hell we're doing.
Yeah.
So there's we're like really confident, like physicists are really confident that we've like got most of the picture down. But
Right.
it feels like, oh boy, it feels like that we might not even be getting started on some of the essential things that that would allow us to engineer systems that would uh, allow us to travel through space much, much faster.
Yeah, and there's even things that are much more commonplace that we can't explain, but we've started to take for granted, like quantum tunneling, just things like, oh, the electron was here with this energy and now it's here with this energy, and it's just tunneling. But so we're missing a lot of the picture. So yeah, I don't know, to, use your same question from earlier. I don't know if you and I will see it, but yeah, someday.